ambiguity possibly here, because there's that rhombus, and I look to see where should I put the pentagon? Well, I look around and I see there is that pattern of penticans, which I warned you wouldn't be able to find, and I look at that one's over there, it has to be there, and therefore this one's down there. Okay, so that's satisfying the rules, and then next time, do it once more, and I get the pattern that we had before. Okay? So that tells you how it's built. It's called hierarchical construction. I'm going to whip those away, and just to confuse you a bit, I'm turning it upside down. Now, where was that original big pentagon? It's not so easy to find. In fact, each time I have to figure it out all over again. The point about this is that it has a uniformity that's not so obviously hierarchical. It does have a hierarchical construction, but it's really something much more regular than that. It has a highly regular structure, and the hierarchical nature is not at all obvious. In fact, those properties, I'll point out a few of these. For example, you see here, you have a regular decagon, 10-sided figure. There's another one. And then when you find one of these regular decagons, it's always subdivided in the same way: 3 pentagons, 2 rhombuses, and 1 pentacle, one Jester's cap. Okay, and every time you find one of these, it's always surrounded by a ring of 10 pentagons. There's another one. Always a ring of 10 pentagons, wherever it is. Sometimes these things overlap, like here, you've got 2 of them overlapping, another one there. Whenever that happens, you still find a ring of pentagons. They just go quite happily through each other. And it has that very nice property. Other things which are very evident to me just when I stand here is that if I take a line from the picture, I can put a ruler against it, say any line in the picture, it will keep on going across the picture with the same density of lines all the way up. So if you imagine you had a field of corn and there was growing at each point, vertex of this pattern, and you drive past in the car and you look at it, they're all lined up at some point and then they're all lined up again, and you say, oh, that's a nice regular pattern. Well, it's one of these things maybe. You'd be lucky to find a farmer who do that, but never mind. Anyway, I just want to indicate that there is a structure, there are a lot of features which are not at all evident from the hierarchical construction, and for example now this 10-sided one in the middle here with its ring of pentagons. In this case you also find right the way around it a nice ring where you have rhombus, pentagon, rhombus, pentagon, rhombus, pentagon, all the way around, 10 rhombuses and pentagons alternating, and you find those all over the place. Okay. Now, I want to say something else about these patterns, and that is there was a problem originally to do with tiling plane with squares with coloured edges, and you had different squares with different arrangements of colours, and you had to match the colours. And the question that was raised by a Chinese-American mathematician called Hai Wang: could you find a computer program which will answer yes or no, given this sets of colourings, find out set of these squares, yes or no, can you tile the entire plane with these coloured squares? And he came to the conclusion that yes, there would be an algorithm for doing that, a computer program for doing that, if it were the case that for any set of coloured squares, if it did tile the plane, you could be sure that it would tile the plane in a periodic way. Well, his student thought about the problem and eventually proved that there was no computer program for solving the tiling problem of this kind, and therefore, as part of his argument, in fact, he produced a set of, I think it was originally 20,426 different coloured squares. He then got it down to about 100, and then Raphael Robertson got it down to about 6. And he had a way of making it into a jigsaw puzzle, rather badly drawn here. That's what it is. You can see the squares on this piece of paper, but that's not got the designs on them. You have to fit these together, and the only way to do it is non-periodically. So that was made it consistent that there was no computer program for solving the tiling problem with these coloured squares, and the fact that there are shapes which would tile only non-periodically. Well, I was visited in the old Mathematical Institute by an American mathematician, Simon Cochin, and he was describing these things to me, and he said that Raphael Robertson was somebody who liked to get the number down as small as possible, and so he told me there were 6. And I said, well, I think I can do it with 5. And my 5 were completely different from his. Doing was with 6. Now those 6, you see, are actually the same, basically, as this pattern. However, the pentagons are divided into 3 classes, depending upon, well, as with this one, we have the pentagon surrounded by 5 elements. Here we have only 3, and here we have, where's another one? Only 2 here. So either 2, 3, or 5, and I'm going to make those different, and then I make it into a jigsaw puzzle, where these are that's the 5, that's the 2, the 3, and that's the 2 one. And just to show you what's going on, I'll colour these, so that the 5 one is the orange one, and you can see what goes on. Here we go. So you see that's still 6, like Raphael Robertson 6. But there you are. So if you imagine the coloured ones are different and they have a matching rule according to those little knobs and notches which I just showed you, then the point is that you force that kind of pattern which I've been describing. It does have this hierarchical arrangement, but I'm not saying do it that way. I'm saying do it any way you can where you make the notches and the knobs fit together. And the only way you can do it is in the sort of arrangement which I just showed you. Now, the reason I said I thought I could do it with 4 is if you look at these tiles, you see that there's this little funny star-shaped thing there, 2 of them on here, and there's only one little place where you have a slot for them to go into, and that's this one. So you cut this one out and glue it to that, take another 2 versions of this, glue it on there, and you don't need that one. So you can do it fine. So I went home and then I started thinking about this, cutting out and seeing whether I could improve on that. And I got it down to 4, and I was quite pleased with that. And then I got it down to 2, and I wasn't so pleased. Now, why wasn't I so pleased? I think the reason I wasn't so pleased was I thought, oh, this is so easy. It must have been known to people. I think that's why I thought that. I do remember being disappointed when it came down to 2. I rather like my set 4. But the set 2 I originally put on is shown in this here. Here we have There's kites and darts. Here we have the kite, and here we have the dart. And those are the only two. And I have a rule where the corners are colored black or white. You have to match the corners. You can do this with knobs and notches if you'd like. Make a jigsaw puzzle out of it, and I'll show you one in a minute. Each one of the kites you have to put lines on in the appropriate way, and each dart you do as well. And I've done that on this side, on the right-hand side, and you'll see that it brings out the pattern we just had before with the pentagons. It's just they assemble to make the pentagons, and the dotted ones, shaded ones, make either or the Jester's cap here, or the pentacle over there. And that is the pattern we just had before. And you can see that if I do it right. I'm not quite sure which one I need, but let's try that one. And probably just the orange one. Let's try that one. Yeah, I think that's it. So you can see they're really the same kind of pattern. But the kites and darts are done in a way that you don't need so many tiles, that's all. Now, you can also modify them, as I say, to make a jigsaw puzzle type arrangements. And here's one which is sort of influenced by Escher to some degree, where there are two birds, the big bird and the little bird, and the only way you can assemble them as a jigsaw puzzle is in an arrangement like this, which never repeats itself. And you can then go back and see how that is with these ones. I hope I can. It wasn't designed to fit this transparency, but I managed to find a place where they fit. And there I think you can see the big birds are the kites, and the little birds are the darts. And that's all there are. But it makes a nice jigsaw puzzle. Okay. Now you can also do two in another way, which are actually more commonly used, it turns out, because they're just rhombuses. And the colouring I've got here is you have to match those colours, and it forces this non-periodic arrangement, which I've just shown you. And what you get, I'll start off by relating it to kites and darts. There you are. So each dart is drawn, you have the same lines drawn on in each kite the same way. And that with this pattern of rhombuses. Now this pattern has been used in all sorts of places. I'll show you some places where it has been used, but often just like this. And I also find it's a bit disappointing because you don't know why the pattern is like that. You go, well, lots of ways of doing rhombuses, you could just make them regular patterns, so why do you do them like this? You might be saying, well, that's what you're supposed to do, but that's not good enough, is it? But if you have the matching rules like here, then it does force that type of work. There's a few things I should say about this. One is, okay, as it forces it, but are there more than one way of doing it? Is there more than one way of doing it? Well, it depends. The answer is both. It's unique, and there's infinitely many different ways of doing it. In fact, 2 to the Aleph naught. The number of points there are on the real line, 2 to the Aleph naught number of different ways of doing it. But they're all the same in a certain sense. If you were given 2 of these patterns and you wanted to see whether they were the same or different, and you could only examine a finite portion, you would never tell. Because any finite portion in one of them will appear in the other one infinitely many times. So as far as finite arrangements are concerned, they're identical. The only differences are way out to infinity, and that's quite a subtle thing. So let me not go into the subtleties of that, but it is the case that, strictly speaking, if you're all out to infinity, there are all the different ways of doing it. It depends on sort of where you start in the hierarchy. See, they're all hierarchical in the same way that I started, but you could sort of start in different places, and that makes a difference out to infinity, but as far as finite arrangements are concerned, they're all the same. Okay. Now, these are all 5-fold ones, or 10-fold. It depends whether you can call them a 5-fold or 10-fold fold, depending on your rules. I'm not going to make a distinction there. But there are others. And here we have a 12-fold one. It's a rather nice one. Made by Galen and Nissen. He's Swiss. I'm not sure again it's Swiss. There was a competition actually for that. I thought the ones that they produced were the nicest ones. These are 12-fold. That's one of them. And they haven't got matching rules, but you can make matching rules. It's a little bit more complicated how to do it. You can't do it with just... I think there are 3 different shapes here, but you have to have another shape to force the matching rules. It's really a 4-tile thing. There's another version for the same thing. Really rather nice. There are also the 8-fold ones, which Robert Ammann and somebody called Pete produced. Very rapid. Ammann was very rapid. Martin Gardner had an article on these things, and he announced he was going to produce these, something that he hadn't shown before, and I don't think he said very much about what they were like. And Robert Ammann rediscovered the rhombus ones, which is very remarkable, I thought. In less than a month, I suppose. Okay. Now, what do I want to say? Well, sometimes people say, you can find these things in Islamic patterns, Islamic buildings, and you certainly find a lot of extraordinary looking patterns in Islamic buildings with all sorts of symmetries. Here's a nice example here, and you see this part of the wall. I'm not sure I've counted what these ones are, that's 10-fold, I think, here. So, but they're all limited regions, and there's no rule about how you might go out to infinity. Or if you see a nice pattern of these things, it's almost always the case that there's an evident symmetry to it, that it just repeats itself. And so, just having interesting symmetries, and the symmetries don't extend to the whole pattern, they're just local symmetries. So you can have these local symmetries which are not crystallographic, but the pattern as a whole is a crystallographic thing. One of the more remarkable examples was pointed out by... see, that's wrong. That's it, yes. Paul Steinhardt and a Chinese chap, I've forgotten his name now. But anyway, they did try and relate it to the tilings that I had. I think there are relationships, but there's no evidence that there was any kind of a rule which would force non-periodicity. In fact, the examples, like the one up there, you can see actually it's completely periodic. So, and it's less obvious here what's going on. And they have a certain hierarchical aspect. You see they're subdivided, but not in a way that repeats the patterns on the big scale. So it's not clear. Maybe somewhere in some building, such an example will actually be found of these non-periodic things, but I want to show you something else which is a bit different. Somewhat later, but not that much later. 1619. These are pictures done under the instruction of Johannes Kepler, the famous astronomer, who discovered the Keplerian orbits, ellipses, and so on. But he also fiddled around with all sorts of things, and like polyhedra and re-entrant and how you fill space with different shapes and so on like that. But he had a page in one of his books, Harmonica Mundi, volume 2, 1619, in which there are all these different, very curious symmetries. Now, my father owned a copy of this book, and I had seen this page some years before finding these patterns which I've just been showing you, but I wasn't thinking about them at the time. But let me show you something. I'm going to concentrate now on this pattern called AA, down there. Let's make it a bit bigger. There we are. And now, I want to show you something. This is made out of pentagons, regular pentagons put together, and then these little holes in them which are decagonal shapes, and these stars, these pentacles. Now, I'm going to try and find the right spot here, which may be a little tricky. Here we are. And look, it fits exactly. Not only does it fit exactly, but in Kepler's picture, he put an extra little line there for some reason, and that line also fits exactly. Now, what was he doing? I don't know. I really don't know. I was doing a lecture like this somewhere, and somebody in the audience at the end said there was a letter that Kepler wrote to somebody, and he explained what he was doing in his pictures. I said, oh, that's very interesting. Can you find out? Let me know. I heard nothing more from her. There's times I got people to look at Kepler's letters and things, and the best they could find were letters that he had written to the person who actually did the drawing. So that was he had an artist actually to draw these things for him, but were strictly under his instruction. So they were Kepler's pictures, no doubt. And my guess is that he was probably interested in, certainly interested in space filling with regular shapes and so on, and crystals. We didn't even know really about atoms in those days, but it was one possibility. And I imagine that the idea of crystals being atoms arranged in a regular way was certainly a strong possibility. And I suspect that Kepler was also interested in living things, and that maybe plants and so on might have had made use of some other symmetries, such as the ones in his pictures here. I have no idea, that's pure speculation. When people were just finding examples of what were called quasi-crystals, which seemed to have the tenfold, fivefold, and tenfold symmetries, and then they seemed to find some eightfold ones. And then I was visiting Switzerland, this chap, Nissen, who did one picture earlier, the 12-fold one. He and a colleague produced these ones. And the reason he was interested in this was that he claimed to have an alloy which produced diffraction patterns which seemed to suggest they were 12-fold symmetry. And nobody seemed to believe him when he showed me these things. Well, it was fairly persuasive. They weren't quite uniform over the whole picture. And then he showed me the little points from the diffraction. Electrons, you shine electrons on, and they scatter out at particular angles, and then you see the shapes of the little points of light that you get with a electron. And this tells you something of the symmetry. And he showed me this with a 12-fold symmetry, little points. I looked at this, and I started drawing up little squares of triangles and like that. And I thought, I've seen that picture before somewhere. Where on earth have I seen that before? And then it dawned on me, here, it's that one. If you put the points of the diffraction pattern on the corners of this arrangement here, just a bit bigger, that's the diffraction pattern. Well, there are probably some other points scattered about, but it was that particular pattern. I'm sure he didn't know anything about diffraction patterns, but nevertheless, he had some deep insights in that too, so who knows? I'll just leave you that as a bit of a conundrum. Okay, let's do something a little different here, if I can get it to work, which is not necessarily the case. There we have, I'm afraid there's an old slide, and you see they've got rather messed up. I must get a new one. But these are rhombuses, which you can probably just about see there. So it's a nice big pattern of the rhombuses. I can do it with that, can't I? Yeah, I don't need transparencies. But that's rhombuses. What's that one? Well, that's rhombuses too, but I think I can't even see them very well. I can see the there, but they're little rhombuses. The point about this is that you can put others on top and get nice diffraction patterns. I have to worry about that spot because that's just a light, isn't it? I'll probably do it. Never mind, don't worry about that. I don't know whether I can do this very well here. But you can find a little place where... Oh, yeah, that's good. If I can get that spot in the middle now. And a nice one. Oh, there, there. Yeah, you see those lines? The lines are where they disagree, and when you don't see a line, that's where they agree. Now, this is where I shall probably fail, but let me try. I've marked a spot there. Let's just see. That's not it. I thought I marked it. Can't see there. Okay. If you get it right, which is hard to do, I'm afraid. I think it's best if I push it a bit more. That's confusing, that other one. Oh, it's not working. It should be just, oh, you probably just about to see there's a line right down the middle. And it matches everywhere except along that line. Not very good. I think that's the best I can do. You can probably see the line extending from here to here. That line is where it disagrees. It degrees else. You see, that's one of these 99.9 things. If I got it right. I think I shouldn't waste too much time on that. It ought to be just about there. I think just about it. Actually, glue them together, but of course then the effect is I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do. I'm sorry about it. I think one trouble also is that these machines, well, I shouldn't blame it on the machine. It's not quite, did you get it? Ah, there we are. So it took so long. I think perhaps I'll use this other machine. Oh, I have to get it going, don't I? I know how to move the picture, but how do I turn it on? Is it that right? Is it square? No, it's not it. I'm very stupid at these things. Should I be pressing something? Back? Oh, it's over there, of course. Perhaps it was there all the time, was it? Yes. Well, you can see this actually hasn't been put on the building yet, is it? This is a nice poster. This is in our old building. I think it's being stored somewhere away, isn't it? Probably. Anyway, it's made up of pieces, plastic pieces that were given to me by a mathematician, Ron Graham, and some of them were made by some other people, Michael White, this company. And the big one in the middle is the Ron Graham's one. And they're basically cats and darts with matching rules done by the knobs and things. And it's also coloured in a very specific way, which the colouring is unique up to permutation of the colours. And it produces some nice things if you sort of squint your eye and look at it. Up in the top left, we see a nice straightforward cats and darts. On the top right, rhombus one. The bottom left, we see the modification was given to the birds and the relationship to the pentagons as well. A little bit baffling. Right in the middle, there is a dog. And the dog is not, it's cheap, it's a different shape from the others. But if you put one dog in there, the tiling is completely unique right out to infinity. So you won't have this business about 2 3 hours not there, it's unique. And the one thing on the right, with the diffraction pattern, is an actual quasi-crystal. This is an actual material produced by people in Japan. And now you can produce ones that you can actually see. I mean, it's probably only about that big, but you can see it quite clearly. And it's a regular dodecahedron, which is not allowed for a crystal, so it's quite interesting. We're going to have that. And there's a bigger picture of the actual quasi-crystal. I think they're called crystals now, so I don't know. I think they have so many properties of crystals that people prefer to call them all crystals. I'm not sure whether I like that or not, but that's not right. Now, apart from the fact that's upside down, which maybe shouldn't matter, it's on, I hope they're not all upside down. That is the first time these things were ever used in architectural design. That was in the, well, I hope the others aren't like that. Architectural design on a building. This was the Tokyo Metropolitan University, and the architect there wanted to use kites and darts, so you can probably see them a little bit hidden with having all those landmarks on top of them. But kites and darts. And when the thing was assembled, the architect looked at it very carefully, and he found they made a mistake. And they hadn't taken it out and put it back correctly, which impressed me a lot. Completely right, as far as I can tell. It's supposed to have some connection with the shape of Tokyo as well, which I don't know much about, but I think it's very nice, nicely done. Okay, that's right, we are. This is a rather gaudy looking building in Melbourne, I think it is, Australia. It's in Melbourne. And where they've used kites and darts. Front and all over inside too. It's rather an extraordinary place. It's one of the first buildings I know which made use of these things. And you can see up at the top right, the guy's got the straps on them. I'm going to show you. They seem to be pretty accurately done. They've got the straps on the other ones too, which you have to match. Now there's a much more state. On the ground down here, you see this is just straightforward offices. This is in Stony Brook, in Long Island, New York. And that's the Mathematics building, and they want to use a time of this kind, but it's just straightforward offices. That's quite long. See this again, straightforward offices. This is in Perth, in Australia, and I think this is the Cosmology Centre or something. It's a very nice popular science place in Perth, and they wanted to use the tilings, rhombus tilings on the floor. So really nicely done. I think the biggest area I've ever seen is also in Perth, but it's in the chemistry building. And again, it's just straight offices. And here we have kites and darts. This is, I think, in the United States. Carleton University somewhere, yeah. Which is nicely done. Kites and darts will also bring out some pattern with colouring, which is very attractive. This is the other place, St John's College in Cambridge. This is the entrance to the building. It's called a Primrose building, and I say it's nothing to do whatsoever. Some architect who designed buildings at St John's College in the 19th century, and it was converted to become a library building. And for the entrance they wanted to put this door that swings around, you see. The door is now open so you can go outside, but it's closed, so you can see half the pattern, and the door swings around, and it's kites and darts. Perfectly correctly done. And here we have Royal College, Oxford. This is a pattern which is just in front of the filled with lots of cigarette stubs and beer stains and so on, but we scrubbed down the not terribly perfectly. And it is matching rules. So I was with my wife.